All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I think I have volume here, right? Yeah, I do. Welcome to the Coffee and Crafts with John. Good morning. Good Monday. Happy new week. Wow. What a bad week last week was. I was joking with the guys last night on Crafts Chat. I'm like, I don't even remember last week. My throat was so bad. I had the travel flu coming back from Jersey. Had a good trip in Jersey. It was fun to see family, fun to play a little bit, lost a little bit of money. Came back and I'm like, man, my throat's kind of hurting. And it just got progressively worse all week long. I did play one night with Jen. I played with a mask on for the first time in a couple of years. It was hard to do that. Won money, which was cool. But yeah, last week was a blur because I was doing the two shows. I had to work double shifts at work. I was teaching in the morning and at night all week long. I worked Saturday and Sunday, and like my voice is finally back. It took a long time to recover from that. And I think I felt good, but I was kind of foggy. So I hope last week's shows were good. I joke about like not remembering them, but I really don't remember them that well. Because it was just kind of like, let me get through the week kind of a thing. But I did enjoy playing the Philly special every day in the Paycheck. That's a fun strategy. It's not a paycheck, but it's a fun strategy. I really enjoyed the Windcraps comparison. I learned a lot from that actually. And the shows this week are going to be all done kind of in response to that. Like, when we saw what happened in Windcraft with those strategies, and I think having the roles that are my roles, that are my controlled shots, and having the roles that are logged from a table that are, random, they're not really one person's roles, or they're the whole table roles. It's a good look at like, how does a strategy work against somebody who's actually trying and a table that's actually like a table is, right? Like, with everybody throwing. It's interesting to see what happened with those strategies. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that when I get into the meat of the show today. But consider this week, I'm going to be like your psychologist this week. That's what's going to happen. I'm Psychology John this week. I'm trying to get inside your heads. I'm going to probably try and say some things that are a little bit, I don't want to say controversial, but they may sound mean. Whatever, I'm just trying to make you think. So come at me this week with what your thoughts are. Let's get into a quick review of Daily Paycheck, and then let's see, and then we'll do our regular stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look where we are. We played the Tim Horton this week, and the Tim Horton is a strategy that comes to us from Dr. S. I will show you the strategy here in a second. So far, we're 1-0. We won $500. That was our win goal. Now, normally that says 10% when I win $500. Today it says 6.25%, and the reason why is because this bankroll requires this strategy requires 8,000 in bankroll to make it work, because it's a leveled system. And when you're at level 8, the last level of the system, you're going to be at over $8,000. I think it's $8,012, whatever it is, exposed. Okay, so you need 8K to play this one. That's why the $500 is going to be a lower percentage. So it's going to be a little bit unfair when we look at the final totals at this thing when it's all over with. It may be 5-0 this week, but the percentage of win might show as less. We're going to take that into account. All right. I'll take into account that it won what it was supposed to win versus that it didn't get the percentage right. Okay. I hope that makes sense to you. But this strategy is interesting. It requires bankroll. It needs $8,000 minimum to get in there. It requires discipline because, again, anytime you're playing paycheck style, especially when you're playing a ladder system or a Marty kind of system, you're going to have to pay attention to where you are. You're going to have bets on the felt that are huge. We had 880 out there. We had 880 plus whatever. We had like 1,035 hours out there at one point today. You got to know what's out there and what you have in front of you in the rack. You got to do that math. Like, okay, that's whatever, 1,050 and this is 6,500. I'm at whatever I'm at, 7,550. I'm close. You got to know like what's going on to know when to pull back. When do you regress a level? When do you go to base? You have to really pay attention. When you're doing it YouTube style, like Vince does and like Dr. S does, in Windcraps, it's easy because, and like me and Crapsy, I can see the bankroll total. It just gives you the math, right? There you are, you're at $5,200. You know exactly where you are. At the casino, not necessarily that easy. You got to do the math of chips. You got to know where you are. If you're playing bubble craps, again, you get the totals for you. Strategies like this, and anything that Waylon does, you've got to be really quick at chip math. Look at your rack, look at the felt, know what's out there, know what's in your rack. That's why I preach lammers in the rack so much. I can look down at my rack and know instantly, $6,300. I know exactly what's down there. And I know what I just put out there. I just told the dealers 1,100 inside. I know what I got. I know what that plus that equals every single time. If you don't know that, this strategy will bite you in the ass only because of you not being smart enough to play it. So make sure that you do that. That said, strategy was cool. It worked out really well. There are some beefs I have with it. Again, up as you lose strategies will always eventually hit the nightmare. I am the nightmare. I've rolled in front of you 6, 7, 8, 9 PSOs in a row. You've seen me do it. Last week I did it twice, I think, right? This strategy would be minus $8,000 on that because you're up as you lose. Got to be careful of a bad shooter. Okay, that's a kryptonite for it. The other thing I would say, and we'll go back and look at this later on, it's the speed of the win. It's the roll requirement. So I look at paychecks as having a couple of qualities about them. A low roll requirement is one of my wishes in a paycheck strategy. This one has a high roll requirement, but it's got a great recovery system. So you score it like 1 out of 5 on each of the things, and I'll show it to you in a minute. That's how we're gonna start rating these strategies when we get into it. So yeah, so far so good. Did good today. I know I made a couple mistakes in there. I do wanna show you though how it works. Let me go get the chart up. Let me give me a second here to pull the chart up. And if I bring this over here, it's kind of hard to see, I know, because the background is green and it's kind of blending in and I can't really zoom in. Can I zoom in to this thing? Oh, I can. Okay, let me zoom into it a little bit and show you kind of the chart that I got from Dr. S. And here's kind of how this thing works. I'm going to go into this side over here a little bit. You basically start at, oh crap, sorry. I got to do this here. It's hard to manage the window here. All right, so level 1, it's 96 across. You can see right here, 96 across. And you're gonna go basically 15, 15, 18, 18, 15, 15, okay? And what he tells you to do is at the first level, you're gonna collect, then press, collect, then press. And he tells you, go to 20, go to 25, go to 35, go to 50, go to 70. He gives you all the things to press to. As you're on the winning hand, here's your press amount. So he's got this built-in half pressy kind of a system, which I think is pretty cool. So that's that, level 1. If you lose in level 1 though, you're gonna jump down in here. Now he's got these extra levels. So tier 1 is, and this is part of the problem I have with the chart. It's labeled weirdly. Tier 1, 220 inside, 50-50, 60-60. After your first hit, you buy the 4 and 10 for $15 each. Now he told me in chat that it should be 35. We gotta change the chart's wrong. And then you take, and it tells you right here, on your first inside hit, you go grab the 4 and 10. On your second inside hit, you return to 96 across. So hit 1, get the 4 and 10, hit 2, take the bets down, go 96 across. If you lose there, like I did, you go to the next level, and it's 440 inside. And again, first hit, grab the 4 and 10, second hit, back to level 2, and you go back to this level, and that you kind of keep working back and forth until you're back at 0. So it's a tiered regression, tiered progression, chase your loss kind of a system, and it works if the things work out. Where I think I had a good luck today was I got to level 4. I had 4 or 3 bad 7s there. We're level 4, 880 inside. From 880 inside all the way back to 96, you need to get 2 inside hits at each level. At 880, 2 inside hits at 660, 2 inside hits at 440, and 2 inside hits at 220, and then you're finally at base. I pulled that off, right? We had a great run there at the end. That shooter that rolled like 17 rolls, pulled that exact move off. I got 2 hits at every level and we got ourselves back to base. That ain't always gonna happen, right? I picture we're gonna be at like level 4, back to level 3, 7 out, back to level 4. We're gonna bounce around the levels a little bit until we work our way back to the skate. Gotta make sure that when you're doing that, you're paying attention to your money. This is what I said earlier. This strategy requires either win craps or crapsy or bubble craps to give you your bet total, or you gotta be Superman in the rack and really know what you're doing. That's my whole advice. I hope that makes good sense. Yeah, I did, Dr. S. That was my problem. I went, and we'll talk about this later, but your chart labels the 220 as tier 1, right? It actually is level 2, right? You're tier 1 in your chase, but when in my brain, I lost at base, I'm going to level 2. So my eyes went to tier 2 in the chart, right? That would be a thing you could do in the chart to make it easier for folks to follow. And I made that mistake every single time today. Every time I went up a level, I made the same mistake. So we'll talk about that later. But that's the idea. Up as you lose, down as you win. right? It takes 8K. It's well thought out. The math on those levels is perfect. It all works out. As long as you get the good shooter, that gets you back to where you got to be. Even if we bounce around, I think we're going to be okay. So we'll talk more about it here in a minute, but that was my review of it so far this morning. A little confusing at first. You get rhythm pretty quick and you know what you're doing. It's not that hard, okay? Here we go. What's happening in the world of craps in our place today? What's happening with us? We have all sort of crap going on. Friday Night Fights last week. If you missed it, sucks to be you. That was a great match. Vince and Nemo put on a show. They made me work a little bit, as you know. A lot of hopping craziness. Vince is a treat to watch. He just, I don't know what he was doing. We were talking about last night. The opening round, right? Vince just played it all like an old cagey lion, like the old lion that's getting fed by the lady lion or whatever you call it, sitting there in the trees watching Nemo just do his thing, right? Nemo's at 750. He's got $710 on the felt in the first roll, right? And I whack him for half of that. Vince 25 in the field. Nemo goes out there for almost everything else again. Vince 50 in the field. I whacked Nemo again. Nemo's now got $150 left, $157 left. That's all he's got. Vince, 75 in the field. He just literally like field martingaling, right? And watching Nemo just destroy himself. And Nemo goes down, down. Roll 3, he's got everything in the field. He got on tilt. He puts it all in the field, right? And I'm like, okay, dude, so if I roll a non-field number here, you're out of money. And in 3 rolls, round 1's over, right? Well, what happens? Nemo catches a field hit. Vince catches a field hit. And Nemo transitions out of it, gets a couple of hops, and all of a sudden he wins round 1. It was like, what the hell just happened, right? He went a little bit crazy early, caught it, and then it was on. And Vince just literally sat there and let Nemo himself out of the game. Like Vince just bet pretty easy and pretty steady and just didn't really make any big moves. He made a couple of big moves towards the end, and I happened to hit the numbers he was on. Most of the day I was kind of taking Vince's money. But Nemo just fell into the trap, and so did Craig the week before. Vince just sat there and like kind of lied in wait and let these guys outbet themselves. You're up by $1,000 with 2 rolls to go. Why are you putting $900 on the felt? Right? Like that, but they did. Both guys did it. Both guys put all their money on the felt when they didn't have to. And Vince just sat there and was like, okay, I'm just going to let these guys beat themselves and let John throw my number at the end. And I did. I threw you a nice number at the end there, Vince, and you won it. Good match. Good match. Hard to deal, but it was fun. It was a good match. Reminder for you all, a couple things happening. Big AZ is going to be on tonight, I think at 7 o'clock. I'm going to check my text real quick. He sent me a note. I'm going to make sure I get the time right. He's on at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. First of many recorded sessions. They've recorded 50 hours, I think, of stuff at Vegas. So he's going to be premiering those things during the week. I think, let me double check this. Hold on. Glasses on, browser up. Let's go over here real quick. I'm going to go to my favorite new website, by the way, casinogaming.tv. And I think that the scheduler thing is working. Yeah, so here's the schedule, by the way. So you got my early show, the show that we're watching now. You got the sports betting for dummies from Chris on the premiere of the Daily Wager. And down here, you've got Big AZ. I've got him pumped in too. So his lives are now showing up on our schedule as you go throughout the day. Anybody who's on the list so far. So I got me, Jeff, Dice DGen, Ken, AZ, Texas Crap Shooters, and Craps Master Journey. More to come as I integrate these folks in. Any live episode that's scheduled, it's got to be scheduled. It can't just be you flick the button and go live. Any live thing, let's go back to here again. Wrong. Hold on. There we go. Any live episode that you've pre-scheduled to go on or premiered will show up in the list. You can't just click the live button and be on my schedule. I got to have you in the system, number one, and you got to schedule the live to start at a certain time. My system will catch that and put you on the thing. So there we go. The scheduler is working, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Big AZ tonight. Next up at 10 o'clock, or 9 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock or noon Eastern is Dice DGen's Daily Wager, which means I got to stop my show at 9 o'clock every day because now he's following me every day at 9 o'clock. I got to stop. So that'll make me quit yapping at you. So there's that. That's pretty cool. We got a lot of stuff going on as it happens. Hard Hat Awards coming up. Friday is the voting. Friday's the last day of March. We vote for the Hard Hat Friday. I need nominees. Last night I called for them in the craps chat. Who's been nominated so far? Dice DGen's got a lot of nominations. Duracell, and it's not just me. I know you don't like to hear it. People want you to be represented. Joe from Craftsmaster Journey's been nominated. Vince has been nominated. Vince puts a ton of content out, by the way, and he's everywhere. George has been nominated. Ed has been nominated, of course. All deserving people. And again, the hard hat is not a popularity contest. I can't stress that. It's not who you like the best. I really don't like any of these guys. I'm kidding. It's not about who you like. It's who's putting in the work. Hard hat is literally a blue collar. Who's the blue collar guy of our community? Who's putting in the work, off hours, doing things you don't see, making all of this happen behind the scenes. That's what this is about. That's who I'm calling out, right? The guys that have won it do that. Jeff puts in a ton of work. AZ, ton of work. Alfredo, ton of work. That's what it's about. It's about putting in the work that nobody sees. So who's your blue collar nominee? Y'all let me know who you think it should be. If you have a nominee, drop it to me in Discord. There's a channel called Hard Hat, or you can send me a DM and let me know. And by Thursday, Friday, I'll start putting the official final 4 out, and we'll get voting on Friday, just like last time. But this time, I will count the votes better. Okay? Skill and Luck. Troy is nominated. You're right, Skill. Skill should be nominated, right? Lots of people that are deserving here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top 4 nominees. As you nominate them in the chat or DM me personally, I'll take the top 4 nominees. That'll be our list that we go to on Friday. So if you want somebody on this list, you got to let me know. All right? There's the thing. And I will never put myself, don't put me on the list. I will never put me in there. You got me? All right. What else is happening? Hyper-pressing, but do not put me in it. Well, you might be in it. You do a lot of work, right? Jen actually does a lot of work behind the scenes too, right? A lot of people do a lot of things for this community that you got to recognize. It doesn't have to be the big face of YouTube, right? Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Hell no, he says. All right, that's all good. Dice Dr. Dan, George from CY. Yeah, George, I mean, God, that guy is ridiculous, okay? Victor says, I will not mess it up. And I'm going to put you all on notice, because Friday, what happened last month was I said we're going to vote it in chat. Those votes were going to count triple, and I meant that. And then I never looked at the damn thing at the end. So before I close the show Friday, remind me to take a snapshot of where the votes are. That's going to carry over into the all day voting as well. It's like early voting counts more, like in US. There it is. All right, let's move ahead. Let's move ahead over here. I lost my little navigator thing. All right, let's review last week's learnings. Okay, what makes a good steady paycheck? Now we did one today. We have the Dr. S, Tim Horton going this week. To me, a steady paycheck strategy, if I'm going to go to the casino every day and put up 5 or 10 grand every day to win my $500, I want to not sweat. I want low volatility for the most part. Okay. Up as you lose, Marty's like this one here. Excuse me. There's volatility in that, right? You catch a bad run, that's going to make you sweat. There's some volatility there. I also want it to be a small number of wins. I don't want to be there collecting $20 30 times to get to my $500. I don't want to be there dinking and dunking forever, because what's your enemy at the craps table? Time. Time is your enemy. It's got to have a fight back in it, right? This strategy from today, the Tim Horton, may catch from me a 1 or 2 out of 5 on volatility because of the big bet you get to. It catches probably a 2 out of 5 from me on the small number of wins required. When you get up in the tiers, the wins do get bigger, and for that reason, you can have some of that. It really, though, scores high on the fight back, right? These ladder up, ladder down strategies, like this one, like some of Wayland's stuff, they've got fight back built into them. You don't worry. Like he said to me today, you weren't working hard. You weren't sweating. I'm like, well, I was sweating a little bit. I don't like having that much money out there, but you know the math. When you catch the run that you're going to catch, the fight back is built into the system. There's no going out 160 across and getting your ass kicked 5 times and going, what do I do now? With a strategy like this, you know what you're going to do now. You're going to go out a little higher. You're going to work your system, and you're going to come back, right? My favorite thing about that system is the fight back, is the way that it's built into it. It's my favorite thing about ladders. They have fight back built into them. The problem with those systems is they're not nimble. You can't leave the system to go to something else. You're stuck where you are. You cannot change. You're level 4. You're down $2,000. You're not changing out of it to go dark side. You're working the system. It does take a lot to get there. It took 40 something rolls today to get there, and we had a good run. So there's good and bad with this kind of play. But know this, with a steady paycheck, that's what I'm looking for. That's why the crossbow won. I hate the iron cross, but the crossbow, $100, $75 between the box numbers and the place numbers with that don't pass kicker on the bottom. It just takes 5 wins, 5 rolls of the dice and you're out. And even on a bad run, the don't pass caught us back. That thing has nimbleness built into it. The fight back is in the bet sizing. That one was a winner because of the bet sizing mostly, right? The come strategies worked because of low volatility. So we're learning a lot with paycheck play. We also learn a lot, I think, when we take a look at the swinging for the fences plays, right? And I said this last week, Philly special, half press is a good home run strategy. The tier pressure I play is a great home run strategy. Don't trust them. Don't trust those strategies. Do not go to the casino and drop 130 across or 250 across out of your rack and give a Hail Mary and say, we're going to win. I'm hitting a home run today, baby. And off we go. You cannot do that. Cannot do that. Don't trust the home run strategy to hit a home run for you. You know, if I am down by 2 and I got a guy on first and I got Aaron Judge at the plate, I don't trust him. I don't need Aaron Judge to hit me a home run and tie the game. That's not what I'm looking for, right? If you hang your hat on that, you're going to get disappointed because those guys strike out more than hit home runs, right? By like a 5-1 margin, they strike out more than hit home runs. Don't trust them. At the same time, don't hold them back. What we learned last week was don't hold back a home run strategy. When I ran it in Windcrafts, what did we find out? When I took a home run strategy and I said, look, we're going to play tier pressure and Philly special and a half press, all great home run hitters. And I put them in Windcrafts and I put no restrictions on it. Just let yourself go, right? All of them on my 3,800 rolls, not a lot of rolls, won $19,000, right? That $19,000 cap, now if it went to 0, we restart the bet. That means that they went from 250 across or 130 across or whatever it was to $19,000. That's a home run. That's one shooter or one series of shooters going from that level all the way up. They catch a big run, don't restrict them. When I put them on a cap and said, okay, every $500, we're going to go back to base. $500, go back to base. They all lost money. When I put the rope around them and I held them back, they lost money. In the same set of rolls, home run strategies lose money if you regress them back. If you put the reins on them and keep pulling back, they never catch the big run, or they don't catch it with all their strength. That's what I learned last week, right? I knew this internally, that when you're on a hottie, you ride the hottie. You got to let that roll happen. You saw it last week. Even on the random shooter, the 50,000 random shooters, the same thing happened. Those strategies got destroyed, lost $170,000 by having the restriction put on them. They never won more than 500. They never got their home run. When I take the reins off them, they won 12, 13, 16 grand on the good runs. They will catch a good run and roll. You cannot hold a home run strategy back, but never, ever, ever go out there and just play it out of your rack. Don't trust it, but you can go to it. So when you're paycheck play, your low volatility, small number of wins with the fight back and you get your $500, you get 500 plus 100, that $100, boom, now you go and wind up. Now you dig in your back heel and you swing for it. Today, had we done that, right? If we had got 600 instead of 500, pedal to the metal with that extra $100. That's when you go home run. We're learning this as we go. We were searching for a unicorn a few weeks back. The unicorn strategy is not a strategy of bets. I think the unicorn is you. I think the human behind the bets is the unicorn. How you work your system is the unicorn. And where's your brain? Here's my question for you today. Here's going to be the psychologist John question for you. Okay. What scares you the most? Are you most scared of missing out completely on the once a day roll? Does that scare you? It scares me. I'll be honest with you. Our friend James Newberry, who's in chat all the time, had a conversation with dealers last week. And he said, hey, how many times do you really see a 30 roller? Honestly. And they said, probably twice a shift. Okay, twice a shift, 8-hour shift. They see 2 of those awesome rolls, right? I will tell you, I see every time I think I've seen it, every time I go, I've seen a 20 roller. Raise your hand in chat. If you've seen a 20 roller, every time you go, you see one person goes off every single time. It's probably a random shooter. You see a 20 roller every single time. Are you on it? And if you're not on it, why aren't you on it? A lot of times because I got my butt kicked earlier and I'm low rolling. I'm like, now I'm betting $64, right? And I can't catch the roll, right? That's part of it sometimes, right? Are you most scared of missing out on the hot roll because you're stuck in neutral? Okay. Maybe you're playing a strategy that's the squeeze play. Let's take the squeeze play, for example, right? You need an inside hit to get to 4 and 10. You need another box hit to go back down to your base level, right? I played squeeze play a lot of times. What happens when I'm on the inside? The first bet is only inside. I hit the 4, the 10, the 2, the 12, the 4, the 11. Where the hell's my inside hit finally comes? I spread out the 4 and 10. Nothing. 7 out. That happens all the time. You're stuck in neutral waiting for your strategy to kind of get going. Meanwhile, they're hitting 4s and 10s. Meanwhile, they're hitting box numbers and field numbers, and you're missing out on it. Does that scare you? Right? Is that a strategy thing or is that a you thing? Are you more scared of not profiting because you didn't bet it? And I'm talking about a big roll. I'm talking about the hot ass roll comes and you didn't bet it. You were same betting on the hot roll because same bet makes sense. Up a unit makes sense. Up 1 and pull. RUP from Ken makes sense. They're great strategies until you're on a 40 roller and you're going up by $5 a time. And you know, everybody else has got their bets at 350. You're at 90 on your bets, right? Does that scare you? Are you like, okay, cool. I made the right call. Am I comfortable making that right call, taking my little money off the table when I really missed out by not betting the roll that was in front of me? Does that scare you? And it might scare some people to say, man, my strategy or my mindset doesn't get me into the hot roll the way it could. Are you more scared? Well, sorry, I went too far there. Hang on a second. Hit the last one. Why is my thing not coming? There we go. Does it scare you to attack the roll too hard and leave money out there? This is for skill. I know this scares skill to death, right? Are you more scared of beating the crap out of a hot roll? Press. And I go from, and I've seen this. I've done it here. Go from 32 or 64 across to 3,200 across. Like, man, I am destroying this table. And then the 7 comes and you realize I've only collected 350. Right? Does that scare you? To like overplay the roll, like go crazy out there? And again, these are all you problems, right? Overbetting it is a you problem. Underbetting it is a you problem, right? Being stuck in neutral is a you problem, right? Not being nimble and working that strategy till it dies on you could be a you problem. You got to like face your fear. And I think really understand what it is that worries you. If you're worried about fear of missing out, if you're on the don't and you're watching the hot roll go by and if that bugs you, if that bothers you, then you're not a don't player, right? I am perfectly happy, and I mean this in all honesty, to sit there in the Horseman with a don't pass bet and a couple of come bets out there and watch a 25 roller go by. I'm happy with that because I know my come bets on that roll are going to work their way through it. I'll make some money. I'm okay with that. My brain is wired now to be okay with that. I'll miss out on those rolls. I'm not afraid of missing out because I'm so conditioned as a core dark side player that I'm going to miss out on those rolls. And I'm choosing not to bet on the hot roll because I'm not going to put myself out there on a roll that I think is going to go south. And I'm okay with that. I got to be mentally okay with that. And so do you. Are you okay with mentally being all in and risking it all against the 7? Are you okay with that big loss? What is your risk appetite? Right? Why is this thing stuck on the wrong screen here? Hold on a second. I got to get forward. What is it doing? There we go. I want you to think about this for tomorrow. Think about this for tomorrow. When you look about what are you scared of? I want you to think about why you're scared of those things. Why is fear of missing out real for you? Why is leaving your money on the table real for you? Are you okay? Like, and I say this a lot, right? If I run a strategy and let's say I'm half pressing and I've collected 1,000 and I got 1,000 out there, am I scared of losing the 1,000 that's on the felt, or am I happy with the 1,000 I won, right? This is the answer to that question. I don't have a goal. What is my goal, right? What is my goal for the session, for the shooter, for my bets? Know that, right? Do you have, why is this thing not progressing the screens? You don't know what your risk appetite or aversion is. You got to be in touch with this too, right? What is my appetite for the risk? How much do I want to incur? How averse am I to risk? Why am I playing certain ways that avoid the risk at all costs, right? Without an exit plan on my bets, do you not have that? If you don't have an exit plan, you're going to be scared of missing everything. If you don't know when to get off the table or when to regress your bets down, $1,000 in the felt, $200 in your rack, that's your damn fault because you didn't exit those bets the way you should have or the way you're comfortable with, right? You got to have that, I think, built in, right? And here's the point again. You need a solid regression, a solid pull, or a solid play plan. Either way, whatever it's going to be, have a plan and stick at it. Dr. S has got the chart. I showed you the chart for the Tim Horton strategy. That's a plan. That's a plan you stick to. There's no questioning what's going on, right? It's got a goal built into it. It's got risk aversion and appetite built into it because it tells you what your risk is going to be. You're going to play that thing, you're incurring the $8,000 of risk. It's got an exit plan and it's got a solid regression and play plan. It's got it all built in there for you. It's a well thought out system, right? As are the other ones that have won. If you don't have these things right here, if you don't have these things here in your brain before you go out and play, you're going to get destroyed on the craps table. I promise you. I promise you that right there is the reason why you're so scared and the reason why you're getting killed. So again, get into your head and know these things, okay? Let's go to the table and roll. I got about, 15 minutes here? Let's roll for a minute. And I'm just gonna play a strategy for you that's a simple one. Excuse me. And we'll talk about some of these ideas kind of as we go. Okay, let me just zoom in here to the table. Let's go to this big table view. I think it's gonna be okay. And did I see that, I glanced over here. Did I see that Sideshow Gamble's here with us? Is that true? Is that true? Oh my God, he's here. Dude, Sideshow. Hey man, are you in the States? Or are you still overseas? Maybe you can't say. Maybe you can't. I can't see what he's saying. Evening all. So if he's saying evening, that means he's not here. Dude, good to see you, man. I'm glad. And everybody, I didn't tell everybody we did this, by the way. So hey, everybody, here's an announcement for you. Sent Sideshow some stuff. We sent him a little care package. And when I say we, I mean you. The super chats that we've gotten, I didn't want to tell you this until Chris was here. But I've taken the super chats that we got and put together a care package and sent it over to Chris. So Chris and his crew got to enjoy some, I think, beef jerky and some fly swatter that I got, the electric fly swatter and a bunch of other crap. Some socks, right? So yeah, I'm sure you did. And there's more coming. I just, everybody knows this, the super chats, keep them coming, by the way. Right now, super chat, somebody do it right now. I subscribed you to the Food of the Month Club. So every month you're going to get some yummies from us. Every month your friends in the craps community, we're sending you yummies. It's all coming. So there you go. You're going to, I think it'll help you to know that we're thinking about you and we miss you and we're praying for you. So there it is. All right. So that's going to keep, the fly swatter is great. I have a lot of students who are former military and I said, hey, I got a friend who's overseas. What do I get him? What's the best thing to get? And they said, get him ass wipes, right? That have the no alcohol in them, and get him fly swatter. Get him electric fly swatter. He'll love it. I'm like, okay, cool. So there you go. We got the fly swatter. So yeah, all the super chats, you guys go. I'm donating pretty much everything, right? And right now I wanted to support Chris a little bit. All right, here we go. Let's go. What do I have in my bank? I got $1,000 in the bank here. What do you want to do? It doesn't matter what strategy we play. We can play anything we want to. Okay. And again, let's do something stupid. All right. Let's go. Grand's not enough, but I want to give you a sense of something. I'm going to go here. We're going to go 640 across. I'm going to take all my freaking bankroll. We're going to basically go play like maniacs. Let's pretend I had 10,000. Let's pretend my bankroll is bigger than that. I want to talk about the Dallas drawdown that we did last week. Okay. Fun little strategy. Matter of fact, I'm going to not do black chips. I'm going to do green chips because when we hit the numbers, we're going to regress. As you know, the Dallas drawdown is a regression strategy. It's nothing new. I'm not taking any credit for it other than giving it a funny name. And that's it. Here we go. 640 across, all done in green chips. And let's keep in mind all the things, right? I want to have a drawdown. I want to have a goal for the shooter. I want to have a goal for the strategy. I want to not miss out on a hot roll. I don't want to be stuck in neutral either. Okay, let's catch a point and see what happens. We got a 6. Points can be 6. Now you got that was a 5-1. You guys got to pray for me here, right? We need to get at 640 across. We need some rolls. I need something to happen here that's going to help us not get killed. All right, 5-1-6. We hit the point, buckshot style. Bam. Right. We know that pays what? Right. 120 pays 140. And the drawdown is this. We're going to pull. We're going to pull a unit from each one. We're going to regress by 160. Bam, bam, bam. Here we go. Okay. This all comes back to our rack. And again, we're going to do it like I did last. I'm going to count it up. There's 100. There's 75. There's 25. That's $300 back in the rack. We're going to manage our bankroll. And then hopefully if I can get some rolls, we're going to be able to talk about good decision making. Puck's off. Let's come back out. There's a 10, a 6, or a 5-5 rather. There's my 5-5. We're here. Let's get a box hit. There's another 6, 5-1-6. We're going to draw down a second time. Pays 105, $105. And again, we're going to take one from each. I'm only doing this one time because I want you to see. I want to get to a point where we can talk about fun stuff. Okay, there's 100 in green. There's 50, 65. I'm going to take 100 as a black chip. Bring 2 black chips back to our rack. 2 black chips, and now I got this other mess over here. One more. I said it out loud. One more box set. We'll see what happens. Let's get it. There's a 4. Oh yeah, that's a good one too. 314. Check this out. That's going to pay a flat $100. 50 pays 100. Right? We can take the VIG if you want. I don't really care about the VIG. It's more about this. Now we're here. And again, there's 4 greens for a black. $200 back to the rack. My rack now has 500, 1,000. Starting bankroll back recovered. In the profit side, I've got $125. Let's get that green for the reds. 125 in profit. And I got 160 on the felt. Okay, now we're not going to miss a hot roll because we're stuck in neutral. Right? Our goal was achieved. We got 10% out of the shooter. 10% bankroll goal out of the shooter. And we're 1 for 1 in here. Matter of fact, I'm 20% bankroll goal. What scares you the most? Remember what scares you? Are you scared of missing what's going to happen when I roll these dice for another 15 minutes? Are you scared of missing that? Or are you scared of leaving this out here? This is the big question. This is what I asked you earlier. What scares you more? Does this scare you more? 347, taking 160, meaning you only won 125 instead of winning 200 and change. Does that scare you more than leaving these bets out here or taking the bets in and watching me go for 20 more rolls? What scares you more? And what makes you not scared is knowing what you're going to do. Knowing what you're going to do and being okay with what you're going to do. And what I mean by that is I'm going to half press these things into oblivion. And I'm happy with the 125 and whatever comes back. I'm cool with that. Some people are going to say, well, I'm going to half press these until I've got $100 per spot. And then I'm going to pull back to 160 again. That would be the thing I showed you last week where when this thing wins and we regress it, it loses money over time. When you don't let the home run strategy play, fine. If you want to go up and pull, fine. Whatever your thing is here, this is your goal time. This is the time where you say, my goal is X, my out plan is X, and my recovery plan or whatever is X. You got to be smart right now. That first part there is the opening salvo. It's a luck move. That's a completely lucky result. And that's not part of strategy. That's not part of anything other than I happened to roll 3 numbers before I rolled the bad one. That's not a strategy. That's tearing down and finding a way to get 3 rolls and feeling like I'm safe. Now, your brain starts taking over. Your brain takes over, and here we have exactly what I said was going to happen. We got a 527, right? Are you okay with the 1 1/4? Is that good enough for you to say, well, I hit my goal and I'm out of here, guys, right? If that was a $5,000 bankroll and those bets were higher, that's 5 black chips and I'm home. That's my paycheck. If at $1,000, my paycheck is 5 green chips, I'm good. Made my paycheck, took a shot at it. I got to be okay with not having whatever this is. I don't know. I can't do the math. What's 125 plus 160? It's a lot, right? There's 275, 280, 290, 285. Are you okay with not having 285 in your rack? Are you okay with having a 1 1/4 in your rack? And that's why I said, what scares you more? The 7 taking what you had out here, or pulling this down and saying, hey, I'm stoked about the $200, and if this guy goes off for that once a day roll, the 30 rolls, I'm okay with that? Or does that scare the crap out of you? That you walked away from potential huge profits, right? So I don't have an answer for you. I'm not trying to teach you anything. I'm trying to make you think. What's in your head? What is your head telling you? When you make strategies and when you go to the casino, the reason why, let's go back here. The reason why you lose isn't because the 7 comes or the point gets it if you're a don't player. The reason why you lose isn't because you are quote unquote unlucky. The reason why most of us lose is we don't manage our bankrolls right and we don't have that stuff in place. We don't have our goals figured out. We don't know what scares us and we don't know how to mitigate that fear. And you mitigate the fear by having a plan and knowing every single time what's going to happen. If I'm at 160 across and I'm half pressing, you have to know that if you go from 160 across and you get to 750 across, my favorite bet level, right? You get from 150 to 750, you go, okay, I did it. I did my job. Bring all that back to 160. If that's your way to lock it up and feel good about yourself, cool. But do that, right? You're going to miss out if you don't do that. You're going to have those pangs of what I should have done, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Don't want you to have any of that, right? So again, go back to the screen I had before there, and if I can get to it, and lock in. What is your goal? What is your risk appetite? What is your exit plan? What is your regression, your pullback, your restart, or your go forward play plan? Know that going in and stick to it, right? Ed said last night, I don't have a strategy. I press what's rolling. I press what I'm throwing. Cool. That's your plan. Stick to it, right? That's his way. You go. You live or die with what you're doing, but you got to know, right, where you're okay. When is your comfort zone? So don't forget that. I'm trying to inspire you today. We'll do the same thing tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to take a look at more. We're going to go deeper into these things here, these goals and the risk appetites that we're going to talk a lot more about it this week. I really want to get into the notion again, like you just saw there, of multiple phase play, of come out salvo, getting even, getting up, going hard, or going home. I want you to be in touch with that. Understood? That's going to be that, right? Yeah, Walter, a 640 PSO, now what? Am I suggesting you do that? No, right? I'm doing that with $5,000, not doing that with 1,000. Now, that same play right there, you can do that exact same play with 4 red chips at a $5 table. You go $20 on each number and go from $20 to $15 to $10 to 32 across. My local casino, $5 table, I would do that all day long. That's not a scary thing, right? Again, bankroll makes a lot of those decisions. This one here, I do it at this level because it's either got to be at the $20 per bet level or the $100 per bet level because you want to pull down even numbered chips. If you do this at like $40 per bet, you can do it, but then it's real hard to deal. So there it is. Dark Side, you missed good Windcraft stuff last week, man. I did a great one last week. Let's go back to the other screen here. I did a great Windcraft last week, which was, I think, one of the more, lights bugging me, one of the more eye-opening ones I've done. Eye-opening in that it proves what I always knew. I always knew that, and I got to get out of here in 3 minutes because Chris is going to start his show. I always knew that a home run strategy has to be let run. You got to let it run free. Otherwise, you're gonna you stifle it. It can't do its job. We proved that last week beyond any doubt. Home run strategies, foot to the gas the whole time. Otherwise, they get limited and they lose money. more of that to come. I got lots more stuff in the hopper there, especially on the coding side. I want to show you some of the different routines that I've got built in now to do money management through Windcrafts. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, quickly look at the PCs here, make sure I haven't missed anything. I know Skills want me to look at something. Holy crap. The Baltimore extra, that's funny, Mike. Roll pay, that's great, it's pretty funny. Nothing wrong with number of hits. Now here's another thing, right? And I should put that in the goal sheet. What is your plan up there, right? If your number of hits you're saying for the paycheck or for your goals here, because your goal could just be, I get to 160 across like I just did, take 3 hits and done, and be fine. If that's all your risk appetite will let you handle, cool. Take your 3 hits and come out, and then watch. I ran in Philly your skill 66 last week, and what I did was I did a $25 don't pass. I did 66 inside. I took my hit, went to 88. I took the second hit, collected the $50 off the table, and everything down. $50 in profit. Let my don't pass sit there, and on the 7, I made $25 extra. And twice I missed out on 20 rollers. Twice, 20 plus rollers from a couple of guys. Right? I was on that strategy. I'm okay. 2 hits and down. 2 hits and down, and I'm done. I got to be okay with it. I have to be okay with that. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're missing out." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm missing out. Whatever." You know, you got to be mentally sharp and mentally okay with missing out. If it scares you to miss out, then you're playing the wrong strategy. You got to have a strategy like we just showed here that's built in to get you there. So I hope that makes sense. Skill scared of the PSO wanting 2 hits. 100%. Wife says she's scared of me in the middle of the night. That's funny. I am scared of the PSO wanting 2 hits. I am too, man. And that's a soul crusher, but that comes down to risk appetite, right? You got to say, if I'm going 66 and I need 2 hits, or if I'm going to go 640 and I need 3 hits like we just did, you got to say, I'm okay with losing that, right? If you're scared to lose that bet, Walter and Skill, don't make the bet, right? If you're scared of that, go with a $12 6 and 8, and go with what your level of risk will allow you to take. That's the rule. Go with what your risk will let you take. More on that this week. I got a whole show coming up on risk management this week, and yeah, a lot of things to go here moving up. Really good comments today. Sideshow Gamble brought the house today, Jen. He's amazing. We love him. We love Chris. Apparently, he's hitting the gym over there and put on a bunch of muscle weight. So I can't wait to see the new tough guy when he comes back. All right, I'm out of here. It's 9 o'clock. Everybody stay on Casino Gaming TV. I'm going to close this show out here. And Chris from Dice Degen is going to launch his new show called The Daily Wager. He's going to show us Sports Betting 101. He's going to give us his daily wager slip every day and show us how he does it, how he makes money, how he bets. It's good. It's good to branch out a little bit for our channel. So I'm out of here. I'll see you there on that show in the chat. Y'all have a great rest of your Monday. And thanks again, and God bless all of you. Bye.